Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. This time we're taking a look at the 1969 Chevrolet Corvette 427 Stingray. Our first Corvette to take on the course, and I guess we're going to use this to see if that Plymouth GTX was just really awful or if all muscle cars are going to be that bad, because these Corvettes in theory should be the absolute king of the muscle cars because they have the best power to weight ratios and should handle the best in theory. Front engine, rear wheel drive, 626 horsepower, boatload of torque, 1,257 kilos. Is this a bad time to mention I'm not a huge fan of the early Corvettes? C2s and C3s I'm just not into whatsoever. So I think this is a C3. There's two C3s in the game, one C2 and a collection of C4s, so we've got a lot of Corvettes to go around. This is our first. Let's see how it does. I've just noticed it's got 2 exhaust pipes, 4. I don't know if those holes have exhausts in on the back. Anyways, we're going to find that out and more as this car goes on for 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Ford GT90, a fellow American, a 28.180. The Corvette is unlikely to beat that. The Corvette, as we've discussed with muscle cars before, they are either going to be terrible or really damn quick. We've had a modern Camaro go around, well, modern for the time, the 96 Camaro go around, and that was one of the quickest cars we've ever had, because the gearbox on that basically allowed it to sit in second gear the entire way around this course and just be insanely quick and insanely well controlled. This, I mean, in theory, the power on this isn't... I think it might actually have the same amount of power as that Camaro did, so in theory this could go well, but also it could be Plymouth GTX, which we saw a couple of episodes ago, and the Plymouth GTX was not a good car. The Plymouth GTX was a very bad car to drive. This is turning out to be quite nice. 31.657. That's not something to shake a stick at. What is going to be quite interesting is how these get along in reference to cars of their time. So we've got the 2000 GT and the 1971 Skyline to come to the track. So it's going to be interesting to see if this is quicker than that or not. That first gear is far too sketchy for me to want to use it. So I think we'll stick it in second. I know people probably complain about being in the wrong gear at the wrong time in this series, but honestly I'm just trying to keep the cars under control. That's my biggest reason I seem to be a bit scared of the downshifts, because I know what these cars are like on the throttle, and as I've mentioned before, that was definitely the wrong gear at the wrong time. As I've mentioned before, in this game, you can't modulate the throttle like you would do on a real car or in a racing game. You literally, the throttle is either on or off. There is no middle ground, because the buttons are, well, properly analog in this game, no matter what I do. This 360 gamepad, if I was to map the accelerator and brake to the triggers, wouldn't make a difference. I'd have to press the triggers all the way down to get it to register. Right, let's have a bit of a run. I kind of want this to do well. Vauxhall Vectra, 31.227. A Corvette really should be beating a Vauxhall Vectra, in all honesty. But then again, this is the Hot Lap Classic. Or in this case today, the Hot Lap Vintage. It's weird to think this car was 30 years old when this game came out. And now it's like 55 this year, I think. Tried to go for first gear to really push it out that corner, didn't really work. Tried to go for ascend on that final corner, didn't really work. That could go quicker. Yeah, it's one of those. It just doesn't behave nicely enough. It's not bad, and it's not far off, in all honesty. Like, that is a lot better to drive than the Plymouth GTX. I'm a little bit annoyed with that, because that definitely could be like 31.3. But, mind you, could it? Looking at those times and the splits? Maybe not. Maybe we are close to the limit on this. That felt like it really could go quicker, but I'm sort of looking at those times and maybe not. It's still not bad though, 31.657. That will make it sound a lot worse than it is. It actually goes into 98th place. Quicker than a Dodge Avenger, which is good. Quicker than a Silvia, S14, Sprinter Terreno. I should point out, the gap between where it is, 31.6, where I think it could have been, like 31.2, there's about 20 cars in there. So, it does make it sound a lot worse than it was. In all honesty, that isn't that bad. So, yeah, not bad. Definitely better than basically all of the classic muscle cars we've driven so far. I mean, it's up 2 seconds on the Plymouth Cuda. It's up like 3 on that GTX. So, it did well, really. Interested to see how the other Corvettes get along. I think the modern Corvettes are going to be quite quick, so watch that space. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching, and join me next time when I'll be driving something a little bit more modern. Until then, farewell.